My left is Roy Akery, the fire chief. Scott Stokes, the Director of Public Works, will be joining us shortly. Christiana Craddock is the Executive Assistant to the City Administrator, and she will be taking the official meeting minutes. First item of business is a public hearing, variance request V16052, allow front setback reduction from 40 feet to 0 feet. Land lot 592, 0.52 acres, 1625 Roswell Street. Matthew Junger is the applicant. Can you step to the podium, please? Good morning.
Hello.
And for the record, can you state your name?
Matthew Younger.
Okay, all right. And can you tell us about your variance request, please?
The variance we're seeking is on a piece of property that's down on Hawthorne and Roswell. It's kind of where they call that in 5 Points district. I happen to live in that neighborhood, Williams Park on Walker Street. And so you go down Walker Street, down Matthews to the location. Right now, currently it's a car wash. It's been a car wash, I think, since 1984, 1987. It's currently not in use. What we're proposing to do is redevelop that site into 2 freestanding buildings with the intention of marketing those to lease for restaurants, general commercial, and it's kind of coinciding with the development of the roundabout that's going to go there in the future. I think somebody said the end of 2017. So we're trying to incorporate our design with the upcoming roundabout to create kind of a whole new, hopefully a walkable little community up there. I'm currently a residential home builder. I've done, since 2008, I've kind of bought property in Williams Park and redeveloped it. And so this is kind of furthering, my investment in that neighborhood. So, but anyways, we're hoping to market to small or individually owned and operated businesses, not that just for example, like a Rev Coffee or a Mezzaluna or a Porch Light, Latin Kitchen. People that are already in our community that want to, hopefully expand their business or start new ones. Mm-hmm. And hopefully if that's the case, then the community will support them. So, that's kind of it. My dad's an architect, and he's done the site plan and the building plans.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? All right. At this time, we'll have comments by the staff, and you can sit in the front, please.
Joey Stobbs, Planner 2 with Community Development. The applicant is requesting a front setback reduction from 40 feet to 0 feet at 1625 Roswell Street. Currently is a car wash that's not in operation any longer. The applicant proposes to build these 2 freestanding structures as sort of incubator spaces for small business. And the intent is to create a neighborhood walkable feel, and the front setback reduction will allow that so that these buildings front on the street and have sidewalk connections, so there's not as much dependence on the car, and it adds to that streetscape. So we've reviewed the request. We've recommended approval with just one condition, that standard condition, that approval of the requested variance shall be conditioned upon the development of the property in substantial compliance with the site plan and elevation submitted with the variance application. We've posted signage, and the adjacent property has been properly notified. Have not heard any complaints or opposition to the request. So again, we recommend approval.
Any questions for staff?
Yeah, I've got one. Joey, so I know that this applicant, the first 3 variance requests are, about the same property, just different variance requests. So this first one, the front setback from 40 to 0, I know that those a similar request in that area have been granted. Would you say that the need for the setback reduction on the front is primarily because of the odd shape of the lot? I know that he's referenced in what's commonly referred to as 5 Points here in Smyrna, and it's kind of a sharp pointed lot. Is that right?
Right. It's a triangularly shaped lot that sort of it's constrained with regard to what can go on the property, and so this setback reduction allows the property to be developed efficiently. And there has been a similar request approved before for Casey Foods, which is just to the east of this property. So there's some precedent for that. But yeah, it is primarily the size of the lot, which is like half an acre, and the shape of the lot restricts how it can be developed.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? And for the applicant, do you accept the one condition as stated?
Yes.
Okay, all right. This is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. All right. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Make a motion to approve variance request V16-052 to allow the front setback reduction from 40 feet to 0 feet, land lot 5, 92.52 acres, 1625 Roswell Street, with the following condition: that this variance shall be conditioned upon the development of the property in substantial compliance with the site plan and elevation submitted with the variance application.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V16052. All in favor, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V16054. Allow reduction of requirement for parking lot landscaping from 5% to 0%. Land lot 592, 0.52 acres, 1625 Roswell Street. Matthew Junger is the applicant.
We're asking for a 5% reduction because due to the size and shape of the lot, we're trying to get as much parking on the property as possible. And the 5% basically refers to those, it's in kind of an island, I believe, that's separating the parking spaces. So you have a landscape island every 5 or 6 spaces. What our proposal is to do is to try and avoid putting the island in there so that we can actually accommodate 2 or 3 more spaces. But we're going to landscape around the parking lot and make up the difference. So we're just kind of going to go around it and kind of screen it and bring some street trees down the Hawthorne and Roswell. But we were just asking that for that. It's just kind of the 5%, from what I understand, is in the parking lot, actually. So if we can move it to outside.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? All right. At this time, we'll have comments from the staff. Joey Stobbs, please.
So originally, the applicant had requested a reduction of the parking requirement from 57 spaces to 26 spaces, and we encouraged the applicant to use a allowance in our ordinance for shared parking, and so that's what the applicant has done. They will meet the parking requirement, but a lot of it will be from shared parking agreements off-site. This request, the parking lot landscape reduction, allows the applicant to get about 2 or 3 more parking spaces on site, and will just relocate where that landscaping will go outside of the parking lot, just because it's so constrained on this property, and we'd rather have more parking spaces on site and then just still have the same amount of landscaping. It'll just be moved to a different area.
Any questions for the staff? All right. For the is there a condition for this item?
It's the same, condition for all three variances.
Okay. All right. Well, since this is a separate item for the applicant, do you accept the one condition as stated?
I accept.
Okay. All right. This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. Seeing no one, I would like to entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve variance request V16-054 to allow the reduction of requirement for parking lot landscape from 5% to 0% land lot 592.52 acre located at 1625 Roswell Street from Matthew Younger with the one condition as read into the record by staff.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V16054. All in favor, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V16056. Allow accessory structure in front yard, land lot 592, 0.52 acres, 1625 Roswell Street, Matthew Younger? Okay.
Yeah, it's pronounced with a Y. This is with the development of the roundabout. The way you are going to come into the neighborhood is coming down Roswell Street. You're going to enter the roundabout, and this development will be behind the roundabout. So it's kind of the backdrop as you come into the neighborhood. So the accessory structure is a sign similar to when we come into Market Village. You have the white pillars in the Smyrna Village. We're going to try. It's just kind of, it's not really a sign, it's more of it's an architectural feature just to kind of add some kind of, and that was, my dad, the architect, kind of trying to create, almost a gateway feature coming, but it's not going to say like coffee shop. It's not a sign for actual businesses there as more as this is an entrance to the development in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any questions for the applicant?
Just had one. So we've got an elevation, that kind of just two-dimensionally shows this
5
gateway thing with the 5 on it. So just so for my clarification, we're talking about two pillars,
either concrete or brick pillars, and then kind of some of the features on this is going to be painted brick, and the windows will be the old warehouse style iron kind of windows, so it has a little bit of an industrial feel. So that's going to be kind of made up of the similar, maybe painted white brick and some steel bar joists or angle iron kind of things, just to kind of give it. And the sign right now we're proposing it is kind of like the carnival lighting, where you've probably seen that old style lighting where it's a metal letter or number and it's got the clear bulbs in it, to kind of.
And that would be in the 5.
Right, and right now we don't know if that's the permanent name of it or if it's 5 points or what, but right in the 5.
Okay.
I think that's kind of what we're going with right now for that kind of architectural feature.
What do you think your monument sign is going to be for the development, or is there one?
That is, I guess, that I guess would be it.
Okay, so that's your sign for the development, not a monument sign saying shop A is this, shop B is this, shop.
Oh, no, that would probably be by the parking lot. But we weren't going to have that. That's not what that would be. I would probably put those kind of signs as you enter the parking lot. Wouldn't be as a feature, for the kind of the.
Okay.
All right. At this time, we'll have Joey Stops make comments.
So applicant is requesting to allow accessory structure in the front yard. It's not so much a structure in that it doesn't have a roof or walls. It's just a freestanding structure with it's more of an architectural iconic landmark feature, but being that it's in the front yard, we have to have a variance for that. It'll just look like it's sort of part of the building. And
Well, I guess maybe it's too vague, but what makes this an accessory structure and not a sign, or would it matter?
so the only way it's sort of anything near a sign is the 5 on it. Otherwise, it's not. Our ordinance defines a structure as anything like permanently fixed to the ground. So it doesn't say it has walls, or it doesn't say it has a roof. It just says permanently affixed to the ground, and this is. So therefore it's a structure, and it's accessory because it's not part of anything else.
Okay.
But are we correct in saying if they stick a 5 on it, or a letter or a number or anything, then it could be construed as a sign? Especially if you put 5 points.
That's open to interpretation, I guess.
And then I guess they will have a sign for their businesses, of course, I would imagine. They got two road frontages, so they could actually have a sign on Hawthorne and a sign on Roswell. Or do they? I mean, I don't know if we're going to be coming back up here for a sign variance now.
I mean, it depends on how they want to provide signage for the property. I mean, it can be viewed as a gas canopy type signage. I mean, every structure is allowed a sign on it, as long as that sign area meets the requirements of the sign code. We permit it. We could have broke this out into different variance requests, but the request is he's showing you what he wants. This is what we thought would be the best way to handle that request, and if you want to approve it, then you approve it. If not, then you can deny the request, and he can figure out a different way to provide that signage or that architectural detail.
I just want to make sure that we're approving an accessory structure and not a sign. It's your interpretation as staff, professional staff, that it's not a sign, it's an accessory structure.
He can come up here and clarify it for himself, but I think he wants the structure whether or not he has the sign or not on it as part of a decoration feature for between the two buildings up there.
Yeah, and I guess it's similar. I'll stop short saying concerns. I don't really have concerns. If you could step up for a second, it's just that the only thing that we're contemplating right now is whether it's a sign or an accessory structure. I like the idea personally of kind of tying in this theme of we're revitalizing this area and have this 5. I guess at least for me, if I could have some assurance that you don't have plans to add lease space names up on this accessory structure, because then we would be getting into a sign, and then that's measured by a whole different set of standards with regard to size and height and square footage and that kind of thing.
I can assure you there won't be any other businesses on that structure. That to me, would be an eyesore, I guess. Yeah. I mean, this is one of the clean, iconic, almost landmark, defining 5 as you come in here. The signs for the individual businesses should be kind of probably located on a smaller board over by the parking lot or something but this was never intended to advertise any business on it.
Right. It's just really more to identify
the 5 points.
Right, the area. Right.
But as like you said, I mean, if the 5 wasn't there, I'd still want to do the structure to kind of the gateway kind of.
Right. Okay.
But it would be nice to be able to put the 5 there. We thought that would.
For the applicant, did you accept the condition as
Yes.
stated? Okay, all right.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
I guess what I was saying is when you come in at night and the big 5 is lit up, that's the vision as you come in, you know. I wouldn't want anything to distract from that.
Okay. This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. All right. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve variance request V16-056 to allow an accessory structure in the front yard, land lot 592, 0.52 acres, 1625 Roswell Street. And with the condition that the development of the property is in substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations that are submitted with the variance application.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we approve variance request V16056. All in favor, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Next item is an appeal of the denial of an alcohol permit for Christopher Baldwin. And at this time, I'll turn it over to our Assistant City Attorney, Jeffrey Tucker.
Thank you, Ms. Sadler-Jones. If I could have Ms. Butts from the Police Department and Mr. Baldwin step up here, please. Would you both raise your right hand, please? You solemnly swear the testimony you'll give in this matter should be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you. If you'll have a seat for a minute, we'll ask Ms. Butts some questions first. And if you're going to speak in this matter, please, as always, speak directly into the microphone.
Thank you.
Ms. Butts, for the record here, state your name, please.
My name is Eleanor Butts.
And who are you employed with?
I'm employed with City of Smyrna Police Department Records, and I serve as a record supervisor.
And how long have you been with the police department here in Smyrna?
For 18 years.
Okay. And have you worked with the city records the whole time?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And so the records of the police department are kept in the regular order of business. Is that correct?
Yes, they are.
All right. And you're familiar with what kind of records the police department keeps. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. So here in the city, when someone applies under the ordinance for an alcohol server permit, they come into the police department and fill out a standard form. Is that right?
That's correct.
And then with their permission, then the police department staff runs their criminal background history through the system known as GCIC. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And our applicant that we're talking about right now is Christopher Baldwin, and he came in. Let me show this to refresh the recollection. And his GCIC report was run. Was that right?
That's correct.
And what did it show?
Okay, for Mr. Baldwin, it showed several. He had several arrests in the cycle. I think it was 5, and within that history, there was a felony.
No, I don't. If you'll review this, they were all misdemeanors. Is that correct?
I stand to be corrected. I'm sorry. I was thinking about the other one.
He has would it be fair to say within the past 3 years he has more than one misdemeanor involving the use of alcohol and driving a vehicle?
Yes.
And that came up here in the Smyrna Municipal Court, and it was sent over to Cobb State Court. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. So he has guilty adjudications on more than one misdemeanor, which is why his alcohol server permit was denied.
That's
is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And so I don't have any more questions for you. We'll let the board ask you questions if they have any, and Mr. Baldwin can also ask you questions if he wants.
Okay.
No. Do you have anything? You have anything for her? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Butts. Ms. Baldwin, if you'll step up here. Is there anything that Ms. Butts said that was either incorrect or that you would like to clarify or elaborate on?
No, except for the mistaken felony.
Okay. Well, I hope it's clear that was just a misstatement. So why don't you tell the board what the status for you vis-a-vis the court system is right now? You're in the DUI court
That's correct.
program up at Cobb County, which is a kind of phased program.
That is correct.
And I take it from your record, you're actually coming out of the program having successfully completed it soon. Is that right?
Yes, I'm moving to phase 5, or scheduled to this coming Tuesday, which will put me towards the end of the program. I've been in the program since May of 2015. It's been a successful program, and I have been sober for at least a year and a half. And as my letter stated, my family was kind of torn apart with the flying car accident here at Windy Hill, and this job and getting back into a productive member society is important to me. I'm raising my 2 boys, and I am. This part of this process will allow me to advance to be a manager at Rite Aid, to be able to work on my own there. And we do not serve any open alcohol. It's all closed alcohol. So, and I would just hope to have your understanding in that matter.
So we're right. Just to be sure, Rite Aid sells beer and wine. Is that right?
That's correct.
And because you're going to be a manager who might be in the position of either directly selling to a customer or supervising that, you have to have a server permit under Smyrna's ordinance. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. I don't have any more questions for Mr. Baldwin.
Any questions for the applicant? Sorry. Well, Mr. Baldwin, I know you talked about going into phase 5. Can you talk about the first 4 phases and what have you learned from this experience?
Sure. The first 4 phases, phase 1, I was in for quite a while because I didn't have a job. I did about 700 hours of community service at Must Ministries, and I came into phase 1 angry because my wife was gone, and I just didn't know what I was going to do. But Judge Clayton at Cobb County, she's got a firm, but smile, put you in jail, smile, and keep you going. And once I moved to phase 2, I moved pretty quickly. My head was on right. I hadn't been drinking at all, but my attitude changed. And as will be seen through the calendar of phase 2, 3, 4, I've moved up on schedule each time. I feel as if the program, although I volunteered for the program and I knew what I was getting into, I wasn't really aware of how intense it would be. And for me, that's what I needed. I'm an engineer by education. I'm an intense person. And honestly, I think the DUI court program saved my life. I think that I probably would have, and I'm being openly honest, drank myself to death. I miss my wife terribly. But it helped me get better perspective, especially phase 2. Phase 2 is where we do a lot of introspection. We talk about things we're afraid of, things that may have caused us to drink before. And, phase 3, you do the MAD panel, which that was eye-opening for me. I just thank the Lord that I didn't hurt anybody with my incidences. I actually had more health issues, in the hospital a few times with seizures and whatnot. In phase 4, where I am now, it really is more of a reflection, looking at core values, and bringing you back to the person that you were before you started the habit. And for me, the habit of drinking wasn't because I didn't have money. It wasn't because I wasn't confident. It was because I didn't have a job. I was at home, and those two, having money in the bank and being at home, and it crept up on me. So I've really now gotten back to where the person that I knew, that my wife married, that my children know, and I've repaired the relationship with my daughter. She and I have a very close relationship. She's up at Berkeley in Boston. It will be graduating at the end of this, I guess, next summer. And my son Michael is a senior at Whitfield Academy, and he'll be graduating. I hope he wants to go to Georgia Tech, but we'll see how that goes. And I have my son Jonathan, who's a sophomore this year at Whitfield Academy. So really what the DUI court phases have done is allowed me to come back. It really wasn't focused on the drinking aspect. It was focused on, I get drug tested at least 2-3 times a week. I go to AA meetings. It really was. And for me, once I got clean, once I got off the withdrawals, once I got down from the shakes, that part has been easy for me to maintain. The hardest part was coming back into life, coming back into being a good parent and being the husband to my wife. I can't care for her, but the way I can care for her is to make sure our children, are raised and get out on their own, and this is part of that process. So,
Thank you.
Mr. Baldwin, I really just had more of a comment. I know that the DUI program in Cobb County is a great program. I just want to commend you on the effort that you've gone through in the last year and a half, and encourage you to continue on that path, and certainly wish you and your family the best. And with that, if there's no further discussion, I'll motion to approve the appeal of the denial of alcohol permit for Christopher Baldwin.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve the alcohol permit for Christopher Baldwin. All in favor, please vote. All right. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Next item is appeal of the denial of an alcohol permit for Murad Hashim.
Is Mr. Hashim here? All right. He's not here, so this will have to stand denied.
Okay. Do we just table it to?
Why don't we? That's at the discretion of the board. Since he didn't appeal to prosecute his own case, it can stand at. Status quo is held, meaning it's denied. However, if the board wants to, we can table it, try and send him a notice, and ask if he wants it rescheduled, and table it to the next meeting.
No action stands. It's denied.
Yeah. Okay.
He can, if it stands denied, he can apply again, but he'll have to go through the whole application process, meaning
Okay. All right.
start, from the beginning.
Okay. All right. For the record, it's our understanding our executive assistant did speak to him twice via phone.
Oh.
And he knew about the meeting and the date and time.
All right, very good.
So the standing as denied requires no action from this board. Is that right?
It requires no action from the board.
Okay, all right. Next item is approval of the minutes from the September 28th, 2016 meeting of the License and Variance Board.
Make a motion to approve the September 28th, 2016 meeting of the License and Variance Board.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve the meeting minutes from September 28th, 2016. All in favor, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. I'd like to declare this meeting adjourned at 10:34 a.m. Thank you.